Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to create another Cricut card, but I'm going to incorporate some lawn fawn dies as well, so I'm going to run through those in a minute. On this first panel, if you like, or this backdrop that I'm doing in some blue cardstock, is the large stitched rectangle stackables from Lawn Fawn, and it's the largest of the large set, if that makes sense. And what I did was I actually cut it in the blue for the backdrop, and then I cut it again in some brown craft color cardstock and used the, let me just check, I have all this written down, the garden border, stitched garden border, which actually die cuts some little areas that you can put the carrots and radishes that also come with that die set that I'm showing there. You know, you can pop them inside. It creates like a little die cut area that you can pop them in, which again I'll show you that in a sec. And then what I have is some clouds, which are from the spring showers die set, as well as the sun that I'm using there. I believe they're both in the same set, so hopefully I've got that right. And then here's our bunny guy, and I cut him at 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. I can't remember what size the carrot is, because I actually just I used Cricut Design Space, and I just sort of made it look like it was about the same size. So yes, the carrot has a face on it, and yes, he's going to get eaten, but yeah, carnage and all that. So anyway, he was cut at 2 3/4 or 2.75, depending which machine you've got. And he's from Cricut, one of my favorite Cricut cartridges. So here I'm just putting some glue on the front of the vegetables and then tucking them in and then sticking them to the inside so that they're nicely positioned. I'm trying to put them in there so that they're about the same, in the same, like the mounds are at the same sort of part of the radish or the carrot, if that makes sense, so that even though I'm doing that, they still look like they're at different levels, if that made any sense. But you know, just stick them in the ground. They can be wonky. I mean, nothing, you know, nature isn't, you know, perfectly straight or anything like that, so you know, a little wonk is fine. So anyway, and I didn't put one in the middle one because you're not actually going to see that, so there was no point adding a seventh one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue this to the back panel. Now that blue piece is going to fit across the whole front of my main card base, which is a standard A2 card. I've just used some white cardstock because you're actually not going to see it. So if you're doing this sort of thing, white cardstock is fairly inexpensive, and it just makes for a great base because you don't have to worry about trying to you can always put a piece of white on the inside if you use a darker color cardstock. I mean, that would be fine, then you've got somewhere to write, but you know, I don't overthink these things too much. So I'm just putting some little clouds on, and I love that all these little things have stitching detail on them. I think it makes such a difference having something like that. If you have elements that don't have stitching on it, like obviously the little bunny doesn't, you know, you can go around with a white gel pen and just add some stitch details or highlights or something like that. So I'm just putting my little scenery together. So yes, I've die cut them all out beforehand, so obviously that takes a little bit of time, but it's good fun, like thinking of the little scenery, and when you see the sentiment, it made me chuckle. So you know, small things for me. So you'll see in a bit. I thought I might put some like dimensionals behind some of the vegetables, but in the end it just wasn't working out. I was thinking it was too you know, there wasn't just enough space there. I am doubling up on his ears because with the different layers of cardstock and then putting the carrots and the radishes into the ground, it kind of made it a bit more bulky. I mean, it's not super thick or anything like that. It made it a little bulkier, so I had to kind of level him up. So sometimes you need to do that. He's not too bad. Like, I'm not overly happy with it in the end, but it's all right. And I've just got some brown cardstock, brown ink here. This is a Stampin' Up! Early Espresso, which really needs some re-inking, but it seemed to work, so that's good. And I used a brown again, as I've done in some of my other cards, because the bunny's got brown in him, and I take some of the colours out of that, and there's no black anywhere. Normally I'd use black for my sentiments, but there's no black on the card, so use a brown instead if that's, you know, it just ties in better. And the fact that it says what's up, I thought Bugs Bunny, I'm sorry, I did, you know, what's up Doc and all that. So that's where the what's up comes from, because I didn't know what to use that what's up for. And again, this is from a My Pink Stamper sentiment stamp set, which is the inspiration behind all these my Cricut series at the moment. And so, yeah, there it is. One very cheeky, happy little bunny. I mean, his ears are a little bit too far forward, but really, it's a bunny, so his ears are going to flop around anyway, so I figured it was all right. So I hope you like this super quick video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you want to see more from me, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye!